Okay, so I'm talking today a bit about political memes in particular. I'm sure many of you have shared like a funny video or a funny picture. Is that, yeah? Some of you? Yeah? Cool. That humor can actually be used for incredible political ends, and I'll talk a little bit about that in the context of China, but I look at it in many other contexts, like Uganda. I was just in Sweden learning about what's going on in Sweden and the United States, and I'd be curious to talk to everyone after today about what's happening in Norway. So we'll start 2 years ago. Many of these memes are coming from 2 years ago. And again, it's just an introduction about some of the memes going on in China. July 23, 2011, there's a major train crash in South China in Wenzhou. It was a high-speed rail, rear-ended the other, and it caused this major collision where dozens of people died, hundreds were injured, and the government literally tried to cover it up. If you know about China and the government's control of information, they literally tried to bury the train and explain it away. And this one guy, one official from the Ministry of the Rail, said, they were trying to explain it away as a lightning strike, and they said, oh, this is a lightning strike, and the train was hit and it fell over. And of course, a lot of people had trouble believing this, but he said, very typical propaganda statement. Whether or not you believe the official explanation, I believe it. Saying, you just have to accept the government's truth. But new memes started popping up. It's like, oh, what's going on here? Here's one. If you can read it in the back, I'd rather believe this than the official explanation for the train crash. It's like, oh, interesting. People took the Ministry of Railways logo and remixed it into these images of death and destruction. And this poster says, "You cannot escape the blame of profaning the dead." Someone took the logo, turned it into this image of the Grim Reaper. And then that image actually turned into a cosplay costume at a convention. It continued on. It was the same artist, but it's really quite incredible. Here's the more poetic ones. This one says, "Time to disembark, we're home." And if you can see it, it's a little rabbit holding up a candle. And then this is actually a friend of mine who remixed a typical railway ticket to say that the starting point is hell and the destination is hell. And over the course of a few days, the topic started trending on Sina Weibo, which is China, basically China's version of Twitter. And it compelled the government to have to issue an investigation that admitted fault for the collision. And I leave this one here because it uses the Chinese word upvote. How many of you, if you use Reddit, does anyone use Reddit here? Yeah, it means upvote the truth. It was all about bringing up the truth using social media. So why is this a big deal? I'm going to explain a little bit about the Chinese context. I'm sure many of us know the Chinese web is censored. And what does that mean? Well, it's censored because there are keyword detection algorithms. There's algorithms that are looking for words that are too sensitive to be mentioned on social media. There are human censors because not all words are going to be detected. So you have human beings who fill in the gaps. There's real name registration, where you actually register your ID and your actual name with your social media account as a way of providing accountability. And there's self-censorship. And those are just some of the basic tools, but there are a number of other ways that the government tries to control what's being said on social media. And what can happen? I think one of the reasons the censorship is effective is that searches can be blocked, and like if you're searching for a sensitive word, you might not get the right results, or you'll get directed to results that look like results, but are actually more results that are more amenable to the propaganda mission. Messages can be deleted, and you might not even know your message is deleted. So it looks to you like your message went out there, but no one else can see it. Your account can be silenced. Your whole account could be deleted. You could be invited for tea with the Chinese police, or you could be arrested. And those last two are rare incidents, but they can and do happen. And that's just some of the basic things that that make the censorship effective. So the fact that people were talking about an issue that the government didn't want them talking about is actually a really big deal. Memes weren't the only way that people were talking, but I think they're one really striking part of the visual rhetoric in which people had these discussions. So hi. My name is An Xiao Mina. My background is in design research and ethnography, and I express that through writing, through design, through a lot of work. And I'm working to start a site called the Civic Beat, and it's looking at internet culture and meme phenomenon around the world. And I've been looking in places like China. I've been looking, as I mentioned, in Uganda, United States, and we're really eager to start building this platform to start to catalog what's going on in many different places. So again, I'm just talking about China, but if you check out the website and my other talks, I do talk a lot about other contexts. So my specific approach, I'm sure if you've studied like viral phenomena, are you guys familiar with that phrase, like viral media? Yeah. Most people take a kind of data-based approach. I'm sure you've seen charts like this, where they'll chart like retweets per second, the geographic spread, networks and nodes. And that to me captures the how. Like, how did these things spread so quickly? But what we do is cultural analysis. And that means like bringing the tools of visual language, visual rhetoric, and understanding the language. Doing ethnographic interviews. I've actually interviewed people who make these memes. They're people who make them, and they do have an intent behind it. And then also analyzing and explicating the cultural context in which these memes arise. So let's define a meme first. You all raised your hand when I said asked me what a meme is, but let's define it really quickly, because a meme is different from viral media. This is a definition from knowyourmeme.com. Do you guys know that site, knowyourmeme.com? Yeah. Cool. So this is like as close to an official definition as I can think of. The word meme comes out of a larger discourse on how culture is transferred, but we're talking specifically about internet memes. So viral media is like a video you watch and you share it online. You share it with your friends. But a meme is different because there's a remix involved. You see that video, and then you remix it. You make your own version of that video, and then you share it. And it's that little act of creating and of shifting and putting it in your perspective that makes memes really powerful. Oh, there we go. So these are sample memes. I'm sure you've all seen like the sleeping cat or like the talking dog. Has Blurred Lines been popular here? Like Robin Thicke's Blurred Lines. There are a ton of remixes of that song that are available online. Those are memes. And then I'm sure many people have taken selfies, like you've all taken pictures of yourselves. Those are all like meme actions. Those are things that we do on the internet that we're remixing images, posting pictures of our pets, pictures of dancing babies, all kinds of like weird things. And so the takeaway I hope that I want to frame this talk around is memes are the street art of the social web, and this theme of urbanism is that when you walk around, I've only been in Oslo for a few hours, but you walk around Oslo, what do you see? You see a lot of advertisements, you see a lot of posters, you see a lot of media all around you. But you also see some street art. And what that street art is doing is providing an alternative media voice. Because if the media voice is determined, the media tells the story of the city. So if the media voice is determined by like big companies or governments, then street art is a way for the citizens to tell their own story through media. And that's the function that memes are serving, I think, on the internet. So these are a collection of really random memes from all over China that I collect memes, and whenever I see them, I kind of just click and download them. And so China is a very, very large internet, and so I don't want to give the impression that what I'm talking about is simply what happens in China, because Chinese citizens love cats, they love dogs, they love all kinds of funny, silly things. And so my particular interest within the realm of Chinese memes is political memes. And what you're looking at is actually a very political meme. I see some of the Chinese giggling because I'll explain what this is. It doesn't look like a political meme, but it's actually really quite powerful. This is the grass mud horse. These Hello Kitties are wearing grass mud horse hats. The grass mud horse looks like a llama, looks like an alpaca llama, and it's pronounced Sao Ni Ma. But if you speak Chinese, you'll know that Sao Ni Ma sounds a lot like Sao Ni Ma, which means fuck your mother. And so this meme is all about fucking internet censorship, because the grass mud horse is mortal enemy. It's the He Xie. It's the dreaded river crab. But the river crab sounds a lot like He Xie, which means harmony. It's a government euphemism for internet censorship. And so the river crab and the An Xiao Mina are engaged in epic battle. See if there's, I don't know if there's sound. They're engaged in epic battle. And so Google it. You have to check out these videos. There's a whole grass mud horse song that's actually a perverted remix of the Smurf song in Chinese, all about effing your mother in her most private parts. They're grass mud horse like remixes and images. There are fake plushies. There's comics, cartoons. There's a fake Happy Meal toy. You can just take any toy of an alpaca llama and make it the grass mud horse if you want. There's these Rage comics. Are Rage comics popular here? This style of comics. So this is a Rage comic. They're all just singing, "We're grass mud horse, grass mud horse." And so of course that means we're effing your mother, we're effing your mother. This actually created this whole universe of creatures. I'm sure you've all heard of like mythical Chinese beasts like the dragon and the phoenix. So Chinese citizens created a whole list of mythical creatures on Baidu Baike, which is one of the Wikipedia versions of China. So they actually wiki-bombed a Baidu Baike and created this menagerie of creatures, all with incredibly perverted names. My favorite of which is the French-Croatian squid, which is pronounced Fakayo. And so there's this whole mythology about effing internet censorship, and it's his way of standing up, creating another voice, because censorship isn't as big in the West, but when your voice is silenced, you really just want to say, F you. And this has been going on for at least 3 years, at least, like 4 or 5 years now. So it just won't die. It's just like those crazy baby videos, those cat videos. It just won't go away. And that's really important in a context in which the government wants to control what you remember and forget. And so, the grass mud horse comes out of this larger tradition of cats, dogs, babies. It comes out of our social and creative expression, and it takes a political form. And so let's actually look at another example. How many of you know Weiwei? Great. Okay, I have a group here who we worked with Weiwei in 2011 on a design exhibition in Korea. And as many of you know, Weiwei was disappeared in 2011 for his political views. He was crossing the border at Beijing International Airport and was arrested and detained for 81 days. It was one of the most terrifying experiences I've ever been through, and the people here can attest to how frightening that was. One of the frightening things about it was actually seeing how his name was being deleted from Chinese media. Because if you try to say the word Ai Weiwei online, it would be deleted. It could be deleted, your message, the whole censorship regime, I got a glimpse into that as people tried to speak out about what was happening. While his name was growing in the West, if the government had had its way, his name in China would have disappeared. But I started to notice images like this. Are you familiar with his sunflower seed installation at the Tate Modern? These images are sunflower seeds, and they reflect an art installation he had done at the Tate Modern in London, 100 million porcelain sunflower seeds. And so instead of saying the name Ai Weiwei, people would just post a simple picture of a sunflower seed. And that matters because these sunflower seeds are a really common snack in China. Imagine talking about potato chips. Imagine trying to censor the word potato chips or French fries. And trying to find, you can't, because all the other people who are talking about potato chips and French fries will be like, wait, why is my message being deleted? And then they might actually become more curious to learn more about what's happening. And so these sunflower seeds became a meme. They became a way of talking about Weiwei without using the word. But it continued. Instead of saying Ai Weiwei, they called him Ai Wei Lai, which means love the future. It sounds like his name, but it was different enough that it got around those censorship algorithms. And that became a meme for a while, until of course it was caught, it was censored, but then they came up with new words for him. They called him the fat guy, the bearded guy, all kinds of new and different names to talk about what was happening. And they came up with all kinds of remixes of his face and images. This is the Chinese currency. You'll see references to popular street art. You'll see this is the Chinese door god. And if you look closely at some of the images, they have the grass mud horse. They have references because it's very difficult to censor an image because you'd have to be able to search through all the images to try to find it. Like this money in particular, if you're looking at a bunch of pictures that people are posting of money and you're a human censor, imagine trying to spot this one. in that whole crowd of pictures. It's very difficult, and so again, this becomes a way of slipping through those censorship algorithms, those human beings. And then it literally became street art. These are two images I saw in China. One was in Hong Kong. I saw this street art posted around as a free Ai Weiwei. But what was most striking to me was in Beijing, in the heart of the capital. Just a few blocks away from the center of power, I saw this sunflower seed spray painted on a wall in the Hutong, in the alleyway neighborhoods. And again, it's hard to imagine someone saying free Ai Weiwei without being arrested, without getting some kind of police scrutiny. But this sunflower seed became a way of speaking out, of communicating and saying, this is, we're concerned about this issue. And before I give you the impression that, that it was just in 2011, I'll just refer very shortly to something that happened just a few months ago in March. Thousands of dead pigs were found in a river in Shanghai, a major environmental disaster. And again, just like with the train crash, something like this might have been censored in the past, might have been overridden, might have been deliberately mistold or forgotten. But instead, people were using memes. They were using different ways to talk about it. In this case, there wasn't as much evidence of censorship, but memes still play a role in communicating what's happening. Because, they make you laugh, they make you smile, and even if it's not being actively censored, the whole point is that you talk about it. Because what are the chances you're going to talk about thousands of dead pigs in the river? That's a really difficult subject. But if you share a picture like this, it's like, oh, okay. Life of Pig, Life of Pi was the most popular movie in China at that time. So people remixed it into Life of Pig. This is one of my favorites. There's a great Tumblr blog called Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-un is the dictator of North Korea right now. Kim Jong-un looking at things. And so this follows in that tradition of him looking at things. I don't know why he's looking up. He should be looking at the pig. But it's all part of that meme language. And so the most profound thing here is that remix culture is a way of taking control of the narrative. It's not just a critique, because we can all offer a critique of something we see, of an image, but what meme culture does, it does what art and design always do. They show us another way. They show us, how many of you are designers? Yeah, a lot of designers here. It's like when you create those mock-ups, that's when the client first responds. That's when the client first says, oh, either I like it or I don't. And that's what these memes do. Is they're showing a way that's different from the narrative that the government is telling, and it's up to the viewers to decide, oh, I like that, oh, I don't. And the fact that they spread really quickly is also a great way of validating which memes have resonance with the culture. So let's, this is one of the more compelling stories from 2011. What you see here, it looks like selfies of people wearing sunglasses. It looks rather innocuous, but since I've been talking about memes in China, you probably are guessing, okay, there's probably something else going on here. But this is actually a meme. This is a meme about Cheng Guangcheng. Cheng Guangcheng is a blind activist lawyer who was sent to prison for 4 years for his human rights work in China. And then even after he was released, he was placed in illegal detention with his own family and couldn't leave his home. He suffered beatings. He was surrounded by guards. It was a very, very tragic situation. And as with Weiwei, his name was silenced, so stamped out from the internet. Very difficult to talk about him. But someone started a blog. They started the website, which is still up. It's called ichengguangcheng.blogspot.com. You can also just Google the Dark Glasses Portrait Project. And so people would be posting pictures of themselves wearing sunglasses as a show of support for him, because he's blind, so he had to wear sunglasses. And so anyone could just post pictures of themselves wearing the sunglasses. It became a remix. It became a way of talking about him again without having to talk about him. But this meme continued. I'm sure we've all followed that meme. I'm sure we all have friends who share pictures of cats or dogs, and those memes just refuse to die. And this is one of those memes that refused to die. It just kept going. Because people started posting all kinds of remixes about him. And so instead of the government's narrative of official silence, of him being a non-person, instead he came to life on the internet. He became street art, he became these postage stamps. People remixed him with the Berlin Wall, with the Statue of Liberty. He became a symbol. This is one of my favorites. Is Kentucky Fried Chicken is it big here? Yeah. People remixed him into the image of the Colonel, instead of free KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken. It became free CGC, Changguangchang. And this became a way, again, of talking about him in public because they could put on delivery bikes and fake delivery bikes as they drove around. And if anyone asked, it's like, oh, we're just delivering fried chicken. Christian Bale tried to visit Chun in his village. Again, a very, very tragic story because a lot of people were trying to visit him, try to show support. But as you can imagine, the government doesn't want that kind of attention. And so they had guards posted not just outside his house, but outside his village. And so Chris Bale couldn't even get close to Chun. He said officially he wanted to shake Chun's hand as a show of respect for him. But you'll also notice something here. Bale is who? Who's he? He's Batman, of course. And the guy who stopped him was a very large man with the green coat. And well, if you have a sense of humor, you might notice that this tells the story of Batman versus Panda Man. And it became this incredible meme again. And people took, you see these well-designed comics and designs and cartoons. This is Zico is a great artist. He was the guy who did the what do you call it? The Grim Reaper image for the trains. Same guy. And people riffed off of that, turned it into this story. And what I love about this again is before this, Chun had been. He'd always been fairly popular in both in China and the West, but this changes the narrative of the government narrative of him being a dissident, of him being a non-person, turned him into the figure in a superhero story, and that superhero narrative had really powerful effects. People started remixing that cop. They started putting him in out of context photos. Here again, Kim Jong-il I think was still alive at the time, so. Does that mean Kim Jong-il looking at things? And so now he's looking at that cop. But this narrative was so powerful, and it kind of stuck with Chun for a very long time. And he actually escaped from captivity in April 2012. And let me just tell you the story about his escape. He actually he climbed the wall over that was around his compound, and he walked in night through the forest and found a getaway car where his friend was waiting for him. And if you think about the whole phalanx of troops around him, that's really like a superhero narrative. And a few days later, he released a video on YouTube in which he addressed the premier of China. And what was so cool, that video is still up, but one of the things he said is he actually identified Panda Man by name and said, this is, Panda Man is this guy, and that's the official. And so the meme reached him in this really interesting way. But the meme continued. The meme was his voice. It was telling his story when he couldn't speak, when he was silenced. But my favorite part is that it wouldn't die. It had one more last breath once he was given a voice. Because if you see what he's wearing a little Nike thing. So just do it. It became part of it. And if you've seen Shawshank Redemption, anyone seen that movie, Shawshank Redemption? Yeah, I hate to kill the spoiler, but that movie is about someone who escapes from prison. And so they call it the Dongshigu Redemption because that's the village he was coming from. And this is the original poster. They just remixed it and they put sunglasses on the actor Tim Robbins. And again, it's this way of bringing everyone, we laugh, we giggle because it brings some levity to the situation, a really, really dark and very, very painful situation. Brings some levity and makes it easier to talk about, and it tells our own story. It says this is the story that the citizens who participated in this want to hear about what's happening in their country. And just to give a glimpse of what's going on all around the world, the free CGC meme, people posting sunglasses, that action of posting a picture of yourself, of taking that selfie, that instinct we have to just, take a picture of ourselves, it continues in other countries. There in Gezi Park in Turkey, during the protests there is another meme called Standing Man, Duran Adam, and it's taking a picture of yourself or your friends standing with your back to the camera. Became a performative meme. And there's a great writer, Arda Ibikolu from Turkey, who's been writing about that, and David Banks from a blog called Cyborgology. And then in the United States, there's a Million Hoodies meme. Anybody heard about this one? In support of Trayvon Martin, a young African-American man who was shot and killed in Central Florida. People would put hoodies on and take pictures of themselves. And it took a very American character because people started putting hoodies on as they went to actual physical protests. And so, so you see how these memes enter into our lead up to other actions. In a place like China, where physical protests might be limited, the online action becomes one of the central factors. And in a place like the United States, it becomes part of a physical protest, that meme. And then it's actually now a branded campaign called the Million Hoodies Movement. It's a nonprofit. So, so this is happening all over the world in really compelling ways. So the question I'm always asked is will memes change the world? And we want to believe this. We want to believe these. There's all kinds of discussion about the internet toppling governments, and people wonder, will memes change things? And the simple answer is no. We want them to change the world. We want that story to be, memes are going to change China. But when you look at the sunglasses meme, it's really hundreds of people participating, which is a huge number. But in a country of 1 billion, that's a drop and a drop and a drop and a drop in the bucket. It's very, very, very small amount. But what's the meaning? I mean, it's so compelling. And so what I try to do with my talks and my research is reframe the conversation. Because we want to celebrate this story. How many of you have seen this image? It's a famous Tank Man image by Jeff Widener with the AP. It's a man who stands up to the tanks right before one of the worst massacres in human history, when the Chinese government turned on their people and sent in the tanks. And this image sticks with us because it's so powerful. But did he stop the tanks? Did he stop the massacres? Well, not really. But I think there's something really powerful there. The American writer and activist, Maya Angelou, I read this quote from her, and it really helped me understand what's going on with these memes. She says that we aren't born with courage. Courage is more like a muscle. It's you don't lift 100-pound bags all of a sudden. You start with small things, small actions. And so small actions lead to big actions, lead to bigger actions, lead to even bigger actions. But there's something profound about that first action that you take. That first time when you've been silenced and you decide you want to speak out about something you believe in, something, and I'm sure we can all think about that first moment that broke the control that a government, a company, an organization, or anything had over us. And that first time we spoke out is really the most critical point. And so what I want to do is try to reframe the conversation. We want to celebrate the man who stands in front of the tanks. But let's also celebrate the first time that man spoke out, that individual spoke out against the tanks, and learn to laugh about it. This is one of the most incredible images that just came out. Sorry, not my phone. One of the most incredible images that came out this last year during the anniversary of the Tiananmen Square massacre. This was posted by an artist, designer from Hong Kong. And what this is doing is diffusing that power of the tank, diffusing it through laughter, through sharing, through saying that power, we're going to laugh it away. We're going to will it away. And that's part of what makes these memes effective. So, thank you.